The right team is what he says. That's Minnesota Governor Tim Walz giving voters what he called a pep talk. The United Center is quiet this morning, but it was packed last night, and the crowd was loud as he officially accepted the nomination as the Democratic Party's vice presidential candidate. Just hours from now, Vice President Kamala Harris will take the stage for her big convention speech. Now, she aims to unveil her vision for America after just a month of campaigning. Can you believe it's just been a month? We're joined now by Michael Tyler. He is the Harris campaign's communications director. Good morning to you, Michael Tyler.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So how do you think she's feeling right now? Because I would imagine, well, maybe, is she feeling great pressure? Because this is really her big moment. That's why everybody's been here all week to hear her speak tonight.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think the vice president is feeling motivated. She's feeling encouraged. I think she's ready for tonight. I think what you'll see tonight is essentially a capstone of this introductory period of the campaign, right? Since she took over at the top of the ticket, since she announced Governor Walz as her running mate, they've obviously spent the last few weeks crisscrossing the nation, going to all the battleground states, introducing themselves to the voters in the states that are going to decide this election. But what I think this week is, and what tonight is an opportunity to fully introduce herself to a wider slice of the electorate, right? Tell her story. Growing up the daughter of a working mom, working at McDonald's while she was at college, the work that she did before she became vice president and senator, working as a prosecutor and as attorney general, what the through line has been, always working for the people, right? Of course, she's going to contrast her life story with that of Donald Trump and his dark and dangerous vision for where he wants to take this country through his Project 2025 agenda. But most importantly, she is going to lay out her vision for what she wants to do.
Because, Michael, people certainly know her resume, but I think that people still say, I don't know her and I don't know what her policies are and what she stands for. You think that will be cleared up tonight to some degree?
I think it definitely will. I think this is an opportunity to, again, introduce who she is as a person, right? What drives her? What motivates her? What are the values that she has? How is that going to inform the way that she's going to lead this country over the course of the next 4 years? We think that she'll have the opportunity to do that tonight, and I think it'll be also importantly an opportunity to contrast that again with Donald Trump's dark vision for where he wants to take
what I hear you saying is that this is not going to be a policy speech in the sense of detailed, proposals and platforms. It's going to be about who she is and big picture what she believes. But I am curious, with Donald Trump heading to the border, and that being an area of policy where the Republicans, according to polling, are seen as better than the Democrats, is she going to put a little more flesh on some of the things she said, such as an earned path to citizenship? Or is immigration going to go up or down under a Harris-Walz administration? Will we find out tonight?
Well, listen, I think the contrast as relates to immigration and border security will be abundantly clear to the voters. Listen, I think you've heard the vice president talk about this already on the stump, right? There was a bipartisan border security package that was in the Senate that was ready to go, that President Biden was going to sign into law until Donald Trump entered the chat and blew it up and said, don't pass this, because he thinks it benefits himself politically, right? He puts his own personal self-interest over solutions that the American people are calling for. Vice President Harris has said if you put that border security package on her desk, she'll sign it into law. Donald Trump will not. So whether it's border security, comprehensive immigration reform, our economic concerns, there's one candidate in this race who's actually fighting for solutions and fighting for the American people. That's the vice president, while Donald Trump, no matter what the issue is fighting for himself.
Yeah.
And when do you think that she'll sit down and do an interview? There's a lot of calls for that. Just asking for a friend. Yeah. Hello, friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm asking for Gayle King.
Yeah.
Hello, friend.
Well, listen, the vice president said that she told us to make sure that we set up an interview before the end of the month. We will obviously do that. We're focused on Chicago this week, but you can expect the vice president to sit down for an interview before the end of the month, and you can expect both her and Governor Walz to get back out on the stump, directly engage with the voters in the battleground states that are going to decide this election. We'll use every single tool at our disposal to reach the voters.
And that interview will be with Gayle King. We can confirm that this morning. Thank you for confirming that. Say no more. We understand.
Yes, thank you, Michael. When you're in this room, and I would imagine it was the same for the Republicans, you think this is a lock, we got this. But both Barack and Michelle Obama and Oprah also made the point that this race is still very, very close. Even Kamala Harris says we are the underdogs here. What do you do to sustain this momentum? Because the Democrats certainly have a lot of momentum at this point. And do you guys really feel you're the underdog as we sit here today?
We certainly do. Listen, I think if you look at the state of polling, obviously folks are encouraged over the course of the past couple of weeks. But what the polling demonstrates is this is a margin of error race across the states that are going to decide this election. You look at the blue wall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. You got to be feeling pretty good, Mr. Tyler. Of course. I mean, we feel good. But what our goal is right now, this week and then the days to come is to turn all of the energy, the enthusiasm that you've seen in this convention hall into action on the ground. That's why for us, this is not just a television spectacle, right? Last night, for example,
obviously not.
we had the single largest phone bank of this campaign. You had folks calling into battleground states, making sure that people who are watching were actually hearing directly from people in their communities about the stakes of this election, about Governor Walz and Vice President Harris's vision for this country. We have to continue to turn all of this energy into direct action on the ground.
On that point, campaigns are not just about vibes, they're about numbers. I know you guys are data-driven. Is there a metric for success, and what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, number one, I think if you look at the metrics insofar as our field organizing on the ground, we've got 300 offices, over 1,600 staff in the battleground states. This past week, I keep talking about turning energy into action. Ahead of the convention, we made over 1 million voter contacts. That's door knocks, that's phone calls. All of that is the work that is going to ultimately decide this election. When you have a very close margin of error race, when you have candidates that are very well known.
But what's the answer to that question? We know this is a success because what?
Yeah, because we know this is a success because we continue to grow our grassroots organizing apparatus, right? People who are tuning in, coming to those rallies where you had 10,000 people in Atlanta for the vice president, 1,500 of those people signed up to volunteer for this campaign, right? So they're not just coming to be a part of the moment, they're coming to do the work ahead of this election.
Michael, we got to go, but we see you next week when Kamala Harris sits down with Gayle King, and we'll chat more then.